You're cooked. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 268 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and today we're going to talk about chores, responsibilities, and I hope that by the end of this podcast, you will change forever the way you see them. Before we start, as usual, if you end up liking this episode, remember that liking and subscribing really mean a lot for me. They're just one click, but they really, really make the difference. Trust me. Picture an empty pot on a cold stove. That's you at the start of the week. No deadlines, no emails, no chores waiting. Then life begins to drop things. A meeting, a bill, a task you didn't ask for. The heat slowly turns on. It's calm until it isn't. And today I want to talk about the pot, why it keeps filling, why chasing an empty one might be a trap, and how to keep it from boiling over. Even if Monday morning feels clean and open, reality doesn't stay blank. Errands appear, work emails land, someone asks for help. You don't really choose for the pot to fill. It just does. And yet, so many of us imagine that real peace means a perfectly empty to-do list. That expectation alone quietly sets up for frustration before the week even begins. Also, a little heat under the pot isn't bad. In fact, it's necessary. Psychologists talk about the Yerkes-Dodson law. We perform better when there's a moderate level of stress, but worse when there's too little or way too much. Too cold, and we procrastinate. A gentle simmer sharpens focus and gives us direction. An empty pot can feel nice for a day, but quickly turns into drifting. As more chores land, we start feeling that hum in the background, checking the pot, counting what's inside. Research by Nelson Cohen shows our working memory comfortably handles about 4 items at once. Beyond that, overload kicks in. That's why even simple tools, writing tasks down, notes, app, whatever works for you, act like turning a chaotic boil into something you can actually monitor. Keep ignoring a boiling pot and eventually it spills. Deadlines slip. Bills get missed, small chores become crises. The American Psychological Association links chronic stress to fatigue, anxiety, and productivity drops. Overflow doesn't just feel bad, it costs time, energy, and sometimes opportunities. But here's the twist. Peace isn't an empty pot. Author Oliver Burkeman writes in 4,000 Weeks, there will always be too much to do. The limit isn't the enemy, it's reality. Your inbox will refill, your list will grow. Chasing perfect emptiness often backfires. You feel like you're failing even when you're not. And I've experienced this myself every time that I set up my home perfectly, everything is clean, and then suddenly it's not. Because you gotta use it. The real skill is upgrading your pot. Over time, people can handle more without spilling because they've practiced. Psychologists call this stress inoculation. Gradually taking on slightly harder challenges, build resilience and bandwidth. Start small, learn to manage heat, then stretch a bit further. But keep an eye on the simmer. Do weekly reviews, list tasks, prioritize. Release steam intentionally. Breaks, delegating, saying no, even micro breaks matter. For 2 reasons. First of all, we have an episode of The Weekend Drop that talks exactly about that. And also, a 2017 study in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that workers who took just 2-minute intentional pauses reported higher energy and focus. Small vents prevent explosions. Instead of fearing a busy pot, see it as a proof that life is happening. An empty pot might look peaceful, but it can also mean stagnation. A gentle simmer means you're moving, building, and contributing. Remember, the goal isn't 0, is controlled momentum. We need to also remember that everyone's pot is different. Some people thrive with 10 things simmering. Others overflow at 3. And that's not weakness. It's just personal capacity. Studies on cognitive load show that overload depends on experience. Experts juggle more because their brain automates part of the work. Your pot grows with practice, not by shaming yourself for having a smaller one. And danger comes when the pot heats so slowly you don't notice until it's chaos. Like the boiling frog metaphor. A Harvard Business Review piece on burnout warns that gradual, unacknowledged workload creep is one of the biggest predictors of mental fatigue. Regularly checking your own heat level is simple but so powerful. Success isn't a spotless counter on a cold stove. It's a pot that's active but under control. It's knowing what's inside, keeping it from spilling, and turning down the heat when needed. That mindset shift alone removes a ton of guilt. You stop chasing done and start managing doing. How do you manage? Well, there are several opportunities. First of all, externalize. Task lists, calendars, even sticky notes. Research by Baumister and Masicampo found that simply writing down unfinished tasks reduces mental load and frees working memory. That's like giving your pot a pressure valve. The contents are still there, but they stop fogging up your head. And again, here I can fully speak from experience because so many times I have just felt overwhelmed because I didn't remember what I had to do. And writing them down helped me tremendously. Don't forget, a little boil can help creativity too. Studies on incubation effect show that mild, active pressure keeps your brain alert and problem solving, while idle time can let insights surface. An always empty pot might feel calm, but can starve you on the productivity push. So here's my challenge. Don't fear a pot with stuff inside. Instead, know your boil point. Notice when steam starts escaping, when you're checking the pot too often, or when it's close to spilling. That's your signal to pause, vent, and adjust, not to throw the whole pot away. So this week, don't chase an empty to-do list. Chase a managed one. Let a healthy simmer remind you that you're alive and engaged, not drowning. Remember, and again, I can't stress this enough, the goal isn't perfection. It's controlled chaos that still lets you cook something great. That was all for today. Thank you very much for listening. A bit of a more complex episode in my idea, but the way that I see it is very, very powerful. And I really hope that by the end of this episode, you will stop seeing chores just as like a list of things, but like a complex meal that you're trying to build in your pot. And the way you learn how to cook it and the way that you learn and know how to use the pot will be the deciding factor if you make a successful and delicious dish or something that indeed you'll have to throw away. Thank you very much for listening. As always, if you made it so far, remember that liking and subscribing really mean a lot for me. And until the next one, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Shower Podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow.